What if the version of Christianity known by billions today is not the full story? What if the beliefs that form the bedrock of Western civilization were shaped not just by divine revelation, but by a political summit? Imagine a meeting where powerful men gathered not just to pray, but to decide what was true and what was forbidden. This isn't a work of fiction. This is history. It is the story of a single event that changed the world forever. The decisions made in a lakeside city nearly 1700 years ago still echo in our modern world, in our laws, our art, and our deepest beliefs about life and death. We are going back to the year 325 AD, to a city in modern-day Turkey called Nicaea. Here, the Roman Emperor himself, Constantine the Great, summoned hundreds of bishops from across his vast empire. They came from Egypt, from Syria, from Gaul, and from Italy. They were ordered to settle a debate that was tearing the young Christian faith apart. The question they faced was simple, yet its implications were profound. Who or what was Jesus Christ? Was he a man? Was he God? Or was he something in between? The answer they chose would become the official truth. This single question has haunted history for centuries. Was the truth of Christianity manipulated for political gain? Were inconvenient gospels and challenging ideas deliberately suppressed, banned, and burned? Were alternative views of Jesus, some of which had been followed for generations, declared heretical overnight? We often think of history as a settled matter, a collection of facts written in stone. But the story of the Council of Nicaea shows us that history is often written by the victors. The losers and their beliefs are often erased from the record entirely. The council was more than a religious meeting. It was a battle for the soul of Christianity itself. In this journey, we will pull back the curtain on this pivotal moment. We will investigate the forbidden history of Christianity. We will look at the evidence that has been hidden in plain sight and the texts that were ordered to be destroyed. We will ask the difficult questions that challenge everything we thought we knew about the origins of one of the world's great religions. Did the Council of Nicaea preserve the true faith as its defenders claim? Or did it create a new version of it, silencing all dissent and burying a truth that some powerful figures wanted to remain hidden forever? The stakes couldn't be higher. To understand the drama of Nicaea, we must first understand the world that came before it. The early 4th century was a time of incredible change. For nearly 300 years, Christianity had been a religion of the oppressed. Its followers were often outcasts, meeting in secret, and facing waves of brutal persecution from the Roman authorities. Christians were thrown to the lions, crucified, and martyred for their faith. Yet, despite the danger, the religion spread like wildfire across the Roman Empire. It offered a message of hope, equality, and salvation that resonated with people from all walks of life, from slaves to aristocrats. But this rapid growth came at a cost. Without a central authority, a single holy book, or an agreed-upon creed, early Christianity was not one faith, but many. It was a vibrant, chaotic, and diverse collection of beliefs. Different communities in different parts of the empire developed their own unique traditions and interpretations. In Alexandria, a great center of learning, Christian thinkers blended their faith with Greek philosophy. In Syria, mystics sought direct personal experiences of God. Across the empire, dozens of gospels and texts circulated, each offering a different portrait of Jesus and his teachings. The familiar 4 Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were just a few among many. These different Christianities held wildly different beliefs. Some groups, known later as Gnostics, believed that the material world was an evil prison created by a lesser god, and that salvation came through secret knowledge, or gnosis, delivered by Jesus. Texts like the Gospel of Thomas, discovered in Egypt in 1945, contain sayings of Jesus that are starkly different from those in the New Testament. Other groups believed Jesus was a great prophet and teacher, but simply a mortal man. Others still believed he was a divine spirit who only appeared to be human. This was the Christian world before Nicaea, a tapestry of competing ideas, not a single, unified church. This diversity was the faith's greatest strength and its greatest weakness. It allowed Christianity to adapt and appeal to many different cultures, but it also created deep and bitter divisions. As the religion grew more prominent, these disagreements were no longer quiet theological debates. They became public arguments that could split communities and threaten social order. By the early 300s, the most explosive debate of all erupted, centered on a priest from Alexandria named Arius. His teachings on the nature of Jesus Christ would become the spark that lit the fuse, forcing the most powerful man in the world to intervene and change history. Constantine the Great, a soldier and politician, changed everything. Before the Battle of the Milvian Bridge, he saw a cross of light in the sky. He ordered his soldiers to paint the symbol on their shields. In 313 AD, the Edict of Milan granted religious tolerance, ending Christian persecution. However, the Church was divided by the Arian controversy. Constantine summoned a grand council to unite the Church under one creed. The council that gathered at Nicaea in the summer of 325 AD was an unprecedented event. Over 300 bishops, many of whom still bore the scars of persecution, missing eyes, scarred limbs, burned hands, traveled from every corner of the known world. They were given use of the imperial postal service, a privilege reserved for the highest officials. They were housed and fed at the emperor's expense. When they finally assembled in the grand hall of the imperial palace, they were met by the emperor himself, robed in purple and gold. A new era had dawned. The Church and the state were now intertwined in a powerful and dangerous new relationship. The official purpose of the council was to settle the Arian dispute and establish a unified doctrine. The stakes were immense. The decision they made would define the core identity of Christianity for all time. It would determine how millions of people understood God, Jesus, and the very nature of reality. The main accounts of the council, written by attendees like Eusebius of Caesarea, portray it as a moment of divine guidance, where devout men prayerfully sought and found the truth. They tell a story of consensus, culminating in the creation of the Nicene Creed, a statement of faith that declared Jesus to be of one substance with the Father. But this official story is not the whole story. What if the consensus was not as unanimous as we are led to believe? What if the outcome was influenced less by theological debate and more by imperial pressure? Constantine was not a theologian. He was a pragmatist. He admitted he could not understand the finer points of the debate, but he was determined to have a resolution. Bishops who disagreed with the final decision faced a terrifying choice: sign the creed or face exile, stripped of their positions and banished from the empire. The threat was clear: conform or be cast out. This was not just a debate, it was a test of loyalty to the emperor. This is where our investigation begins. We will promise to reveal what was hidden in the shadows of Nicaea. We will explore the possibility that the council was not just a confirmation of truth, but also a suppression of other truths. What happened to the books that supported the losing side? What became of the Christians who refused to accept the new orthodoxy? The council's decisions created a clear line between what was considered correct belief and what was branded heresy. In the process, a vast and diverse library of Christian thought was condemned. In the following parts, we will unearth these banned truths and explore the forbidden history of what might have been. Before Constantine, the question, "Who was Jesus?" had many answers. No single doctrine of Christ's nature existed. A spectrum of beliefs flourished across the Roman Empire. Communities developed their own understanding. Some saw Jesus as a human prophet, others as entirely divine. This diversity was a sign of a vibrant, living faith. The Gnostics, early Christian groups, believed salvation came through secret knowledge, gnosis, revealed by Jesus to a select few. They saw the material world as a flawed creation of a lesser God, the demiurge, not the true, ultimate God. For Gnostics, Jesus was a messenger from the true, unknowable God, sent to awaken the divine spark within humanity. Their texts, like the Apocryphon of John, described a cosmic drama where ignorance, not sin, trapped souls in the material world. Gnosticism empowered individuals to seek enlightenment within, challenging the authority and unity sought by emerging church leaders. This radical vision put them in direct conflict with those shaping Orthodox Christianity. Early Christianity was a tapestry of diverse beliefs, reflected in the many Gospels circulating before the New Testament was fixed. Texts like the Gospel of Thomas offered mystical sayings, urging seekers to find the kingdom of God within themselves. The Gospel of Mary elevated Mary Magdalene as a leader, sparking debates about women's roles in the church. Other Gospels, like Peter's, presented dramatic, mythic versions of Jesus' resurrection. These writings reveal a Christianity far more varied and imaginative than what later became orthodox. As church leaders chose which stories to keep, many voices and visions were silenced. The lost Gospels are echoes of a forgotten spiritual landscape. The Council of Nicaea was sparked by the Arian controversy, a fierce debate over whether Jesus was truly God or a created being. Arius, a priest from Alexandria, argued that only God the Father was eternal. Jesus, the Son, was created and subordinate. His catchy teachings spread quickly, dividing cities and congregations. Bishop Alexander and his deacon Athanasius countered that Jesus must be fully God to save humanity, citing scripture and tradition. The conflict escalated, with rival factions clashing in the streets and bishops taking sides. Emperor Constantine, seeking unity for his empire, intervened and called for a council to settle the matter. The stage was set for a showdown that would define Christian doctrine. In 325 AD, bishops from across the empire journeyed to Nicaea at Constantine's command, the first ecumenical council in Christian history. Many bore scars from past persecutions, now honored guests of the emperor. Over 300 bishops assembled in the imperial palace, awaiting Constantine's arrival. The emperor, dressed in regal splendor, urged them to end their divisions and restore unity to the church and his empire. The message was clear. Debate was allowed, but agreement was expected. The council's outcome would shape the future of Christianity. The persecuted had become powerful, but at a cost. The church now served both God and emperor. Failure to unite was not an option. At the heart of the council stood two rivals: Arius, defending the oneness of God by making Jesus a created being, and Athanasius, insisting Jesus was fully God, co-eternal with the Father. Arius's logic appealed to those wary of polytheism, while Athanasius argued only God could save. The debate centered on a single word, of the same substance. For Athanasius, this term protected the core of the gospel. God himself became human to redeem the world. The Council's decision would draw the line between orthodoxy and heresy. The fate of Christian belief and imperial unity hung in the balance. The outcome would echo for centuries. At Nicaea, bishops fiercely debated whether Jesus was of the same substance as God, or merely similar. Athanasius' term of the same substance drew a line in the sand, no middle ground. Emperor Constantine, seeking unity, backed this formula, settling the theological debate with political power. Emperor Constantine demanded unity. He endorsed a creed making it law for the Church. Bishops signed, some out of conviction, many out of fear. Only a handful refused, including Arius. They were exiled, their writings burned. The Nicene Creed was forged, by faith and by the emperor's iron fist. The Council of Nicaea didn't just create a creed, it created an enemy, heresy. Constantine ordered all writings by Arius destroyed, with death as the penalty for hiding them. The battle of ideas was over. The era of censorship had begun. The victors didn't just write history, they erased it. The Council of Nicaea silenced diverse Christian beliefs, especially Gnosticism. Gnostic Gospels emphasized secret knowledge and personal revelation, opposing the Nicene Creed. The Creed enforced a single doctrine, backed by bishops and the emperor. Alternative narratives were deemed heretical and destroyed. The 1945 Nag Hammadi discovery revealed lost Gnostic voices. Arius, condemned as a heretic, was exiled to Illyria. His teachings, though suppressed, refused to die. Even after his dramatic death, Arianism resurged, dividing the Church for decades until the Council of Constantinople finally reaffirmed the Nicene Creed. But Arius' legacy endured far beyond Rome. Beyond the famous battles over heresy, many Gospels like Peter and Judas offered radically different views. Some saw Jesus as not truly suffering, others made Judas a hero. These lost texts reveal a world of Christian diversity. Silenced by Nicaea's canon, their stories cast into darkness. The Council of Nicaea didn't just ban a book, it banned diversity itself. Before 325 AD, Christianity was many paths. After, only one was allowed. The Nicene Creed redefined faith, demanding allegiance to doctrine over experience, creating heretics and justifying centuries of persecution. What was lost? The memory that truth could be complex and faith diverse. The Council of Nicaea marked the birth of orthodoxy, right belief now backed by the Roman state. The Nicene Creed became the standard for faith, dividing Christians into insiders and outsiders. Bishops and theologians now held the keys to belonging, and heresy became a powerful tool. Christianity shifted from a grassroots movement to a top-down institution, trading diversity for conformity. At Nicaea, Constantine forged an alliance with the bishops, transforming Christianity from a persecuted sect into the empire's favored faith. The cross became a symbol of power, as the church gained wealth, privilege, and influence, yet also faced the temptations and dangers of political power. Christianity was now the empire's only lawful faith. The Council of Nicaea accelerated the creation of a fixed biblical canon. With a single creed, the Church needed a single set of scriptures. Athanasius listed the 27 New Testament books we know today, drawing a line between accepted and rejected texts. The Bible became the sacred library of the Orthodox faith, a product of Nicaea's victory. The Council of Nicaea aimed for unity, but its legacy is both unity and division. The Nicene Creed unified Christians, yet the Council's methods sparked deep divisions and set a precedent for conflict. Schisms and religious violence followed, shaping the world and the Church's history forever. At the Council of Nicaea, the real secret wasn't a lost gospel or hidden bloodline. It was Emperor Constantine himself, master politician, Roman emperor and pragmatist, using religion as a tool to unify his empire. The creed chosen wasn't about truth, but about unity and power. This understanding reveals the unspoken bargain that was struck at Nicaea. It was a grand compromise, a deal made between the institutional church and the imperial state. The bishops, led by the faction of Athanasius, came to the council seeking a definitive condemnation of Arius. They wanted their view of Christ's full divinity to be declared the one and only truth. They wanted the authority to enforce this truth across the Christian world. But they lacked the power to do so on their own. They could argue and excommunicate, but they could not silence a movement that had captured the hearts and minds of so many. They needed an ally with the power to enforce their doctrine. Emperor Constantine, on the other hand, had a different need. He did not particularly care about the distinction between homoousios and homoiousios. He famously complained that the debate was over small and insignificant matters. What he cared about was order. He needed a unified church that could act as the spiritual glue for his empire. He needed a clear, simple, and universal creed that everyone could agree upon, or be forced to agree upon. He saw in the Athanasian party a group with a clear, uncompromising position that could provide the basis for the unity he craved. He saw a formula that could end the debate for good. And so, the bargain was sealed. The emperor threw his immense political weight behind the Athanasian party and their homoousios creed. He gave them the victory they desperately wanted. He provided the force necessary to make their theological opinion into binding imperial law. He exiled their opponents and ordered their books to be burned. In return, the church gave Constantine what he needed. It gave him a unified religious institution, a creed that could be used as a loyalty test, and a powerful ideology to sanctify his rule. The church received doctrinal victory and worldly power. The emperor received stability and a divine mandate for his empire. This was the great trade-off. In order to win the war against heresy, the Orthodox party made a pact with the powers of this world. They gained the ability to define the truth and to punish dissent. But they did so by intertwining the cross with the sword. The kingdom of God, as they defined it, became inextricably linked to the kingdom of Caesar. The church that had once stood in opposition to the empire was now its partner. This alliance would give Christianity the power to conquer the Western world. But it would also forever change its character, infusing it with the logic of power, coercion, and political necessity that it has struggled with ever since.
After Nicaea, the greatest loss was the banishment of the seeker, the suppression of spiritual exploration in favor of conformity. The new order demanded obedience, not curiosity. A faith of personal transformation became one of institutional affiliation, shifting from inner journey to outer confession.
Our journey ends here, but the story is far from over. The sands of Egypt that preserved the Nag Hammadi library may yet hold other texts, other gospels, other voices waiting to be heard. The archives of ancient monasteries may still contain letters and records that could, rewrite what we think we know. History is not a closed book. It's a continuing investigation. The Council of Nicaea was a pivotal moment, a turning point where one version of Christianity triumphed and became history, while others became heresy. But the fact that we can now study the Gospels of Thomas and Mary, that we can read about the Gnostic cosmos, shows that what is buried can one day be found. The questions raised by the Council still resonate today. What is the proper relationship between faith and power? How do we balance the need for community and tradition with the freedom of individual conscience? Is God a mystery to be explored or a doctrine to be defended? These are not just historical questions. They are questions that every person of faith and every student of history must grapple with. Looking back at the drama of Nicaea, we are reminded that the version of the past we have inherited is never the full story. It's simply the version that the victors were able to preserve. The legacy of Nicaea is a challenge to us all. It challenges us to be critical thinkers, to question the official narratives, and to have empathy for the losers of history. It invites us to look for the truths that may have been hidden in plain sight, and to wonder what our own world might look like if a different party had won, if a different creed had been signed, or if a different set of books had been canonized. The forbidden history of Christianity is not just about a council that happened 1700 years ago. It is a reminder that the story of faith, power, and truth is always being written and unwritten. We are left with one final, tantalizing question. The book burnings and suppression that followed Nicaea were devastatingly effective, but were they total? The discovery at Nag Hammadi proves they were not. It proves that some people took immense risks to preserve what they believed was sacred knowledge, burying it in jars for a future generation to find. For us, what other secrets, what other forbidden truths still lie sleeping beneath the shifting sands, waiting for the curious and the courageous to uncover them? The search for the full story of Christianity has only just begun. The greatest secrets may still be out there, waiting to be revealed.